That's the second set. We'll take a short break and do the rest. Thank you now. From Hogg Dungeons. Thank you for sharing this time with Hogg. That's a short set. Just enough to kind of keep the blood flowing. All right, and it feels good. The challenges and testing and preparation that God gives us, it strengthens us not only in the flesh, it connects with the spirit. And so we not only get challenged physically and spiritually both, we get to carry these challenges with us on earth through life whenever we experience something. To use these skills that God had us train to develop, to increase our stature and strength and abilities so that we can use them here on earth for God's pleasure. And through His glory, we get to enjoy the pleasure as well. Thank you from Hogg Dungeons. To finish up, Hogg had decided to bench this. It's about 205, 203, 205. The way Hogg trains, and it's on a incline bench, which causes you to need to use your stabilizers more. The way Hogg trains normally, on an every week, everyday basis, makes around 205 Hogg's baseline, which means if Hogg never really did the bench press, would always be able to do about 205, and that's what Hogg's doing, and that's on the incline bench, which makes it a little harder. So Hogg could likely do more if it was flat. That's really not all that important at this point. Hogg just sort of, rallied here at the end. A grand finale to a fun training experience, and we'd like to thank you for visiting Hogg Dungeons to see what's going on, to see how Hogg's being challenged by God, and you see the skills and the abilities that we learn on earth, whether they be spiritual or physical, they're both going to go to the work of the Lord. Spiritual isn't everything, nor is the physical, that's for sure. Hogg knows that because Hogg trains a lot in the physical. It's just that when you do physical work, God gives you the ability through proper training to do even more. So you end up going way beyond what you ever thought that you could do. It doesn't mean that you can do everything. It does because we have to be rational. God might perform a miracle and invest in us such that we can go on much farther than we ever thought. Yet there is an end point to everything. Spiritually too. They both go hand in hand. And what we learn through the spiritual and the physical, we take with us to the next life. People say, well, you can't take that with you, so why buy it? Well, you can take the memories, though. You can take the reward from having used certain things, and those certain things possibly helped in our training, or made things more difficult that we had to learn to work through. Either way, it was part of our training, and God used it. So, thank you for stopping in and seeing some of the things that Hogg's doing. Hogg didn't use the total gym this time. Hogg's checking out some variations here. Just now the weights feel very good, and we'll just see how things propel along and propagate in the investment of proper training. You all have a great day, and thank you for stopping in, and pray without ceasing. I think that's one of the greatest things right now. Hogg has said some things that, and it's in the spirit too. You know, let's not underscore or undermine what God has given us the abilities to do, and show a weak confidence level, you know, by saying, you know, I don't really know. I mean, that might be the truth in some cases. It's just that Hogg thinks that God wants us to be strongly confident in the things that we do, endeavor to do them without having to say, if it's God's will, I'll do that. And that's a good thing to say. Hogg's not saying that that's wrong. Hogg's saying that there is a notch, though, greater, in that our intensity and our drive for God is such that we're going to make it. We're going to do it. There isn't any, if it's God's will. That's sort of a given, because we can't really exceed God's will. So I think God is working through Lambo Hogg Ministries to demonstrate that what's in the Bible isn't always to be taken in a linear way. Sometimes it has a non-linear influence on us, where it causes us to believe so strongly that what's in there is understood, and we're going to move forward with such strength and fortitude and perseverance and tenacity that when we say it's going to happen, we're going to push. God wants us to have that kind of a mindset. You see, in the book of James was talking about when he said, you all should be saying, if it's the Lord's will, you'll do this or that. What James was trying to learn how to fight evil, is what he was trying to do. You have to understand that in fighting evil, yes, that's a different mindset than what Hogg is using. You know, we already know about that, and so that's already buried. It's already laden in our system deeply. Yet Hogg thinks and is sure that God intends for us to stand up to these things and say, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to be successful. And that doesn't mean that bad things don't happen along the way. I know when Hogg was finishing up in sports at church, Hogg had it in the bag. Had the first string positions, pitcher, catcher, third baseman, starter. Hogg had it all and was all already set to retire. And God said, no, you're not going to retire. You're going to carry on. And this injury is going to take you there. So when you're that deeply entrenched in God's will, there is no such thing as if God wills it. You're already there. It's just a matter of making it happen. With the flames that pierce into and from our eyes, our focus should be so intense that there is no need to question rather than to go forth and to win and be successful. Thank you now. From Hogg Dungeons.